Breaking Gulf News. Tovarnik, Croatia. Thousands of migrants poured into Croatia on Thursday, quickly overwhelming authorities, who warned the country had limited capacity to cope with an expected influx of 20,000 over the next 2 weeks. Meanwhile, in a sign that pressure was growing on the EU's other borders, Bulgaria began deploying 1,000 troops to the Turkish frontier, where several hundred people spent a third day stuck in border city Edirne. A day after Hungarian riot police fired tear gas and water cannon in several hours of clashes with rioting migrants on the border, Croatia said that 6,200 migrants had arrived in the past 24 hours, as they seek a new route into northern Europe. A special train transporting 800 arrived near Zagreb from the border early Thursday, but thousands more were waiting for trains in baking sun at a tiny station near the Serb frontier, an AFP correspondent said. "We've talked to police many times and they won't let us go," said Syrian Abdullah Janabi, 22. "We have money, passports. We can pay for buses and hotels, but they trap us here. It's like we're in prison. This is bullshit. We are happy to pay. Why are they keeping us here?" When a rumor spread that a train was coming, thousands of migrants, men, women, and children, leapt to their feet, pressing against the railway line, but it proved to be a false alarm. The UN's refugee agency put the numbers waiting at the station at between 4,000 and 5,000. Large crowds jostled for food and water from a small Red Cross team at the scene. "It is very hard to say if this will become the next transit camp. It is down to the Croatian government how it deals with this," said Jan Kopic, a UNRWA spokesman. And Bozo Galic, head of the eastern county where Tovarnik is located, described the situation there as a humanitarian disaster, state-run HINA news agency reported. "We will be very constructive and cooperative regarding migrants but emphasize that there are limits to our capacities," Croatian Prime Minister Zoran Milanovic told a cabinet meeting. Only a day earlier, as the first few hundred arrived, Milanovic had said the EU member, which is however not in the passport-free Schengen zone, would allow free passage where they apparently wish to go. Health Minister Sinisa Varga meanwhile predicted on Thursday that 20,000 would arrive in the coming 2 weeks. Hungary, which until sealing its border with Serbia this week, had seen more than 200,000 migrants enter the country this year, angrily rejected criticism of its handling of Wednesday's clashes, which left 14 police injured. Furious migrants had torn down the wire meshing separating them from Hungarian territory, and police battled for hours with dozens of migrants, some of whom threw stones, sticks and plastic bottles. Such aggressive people as seen yesterday will never be let into Hungary. "Hungary will defend itself," said Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó, calling the international reaction bizarre and shocking. "The police acted necessarily and proportionately, huge credit to them," said government spokesman Zoltán Kovács. UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon on Wednesday said he was shocked by Hungary's actions, saying people fleeing war and persecution must be treated with human dignity. Serbian Prime Minister Aleksandar Vučić condemned the brutal behavior of Hungary's police, saying he would not allow anybody to humiliate us and fire tear gas on Serbia's territory. The situation at the flashpoint Raška crossing was calm early Thursday. Some 400 migrants had slept in sleeping bags on the road, while others had spent the night in neighboring fields. Germany, Austria, and Slovakia have all reimposed identity checks on parts of their borders, and Poland and the Netherlands are considering whether to follow suit. The European Union has announced an emergency summit in Brussels next Wednesday to tackle the crisis and address sharp differences over plans to relocate 120,000 refugees around the bloc. I convene an extra EU/CO/summit/ on Wednesday, September 23 at 18h/1600 GMT/ to discuss how to deal with the refugee crisis, Tusk said in a tweet. German Chancellor Angela Merkel and her Austrian counterpart Werner Faymann had called for a summit after EU interior ministers in Brussels failed to reach an agreement Monday on how to redistribute refugees from overstretched Hungary, Italy, and Greece. Interior ministers from the 28 member states are to hold a new emergency meeting next Tuesday on Europe's worst migration crisis since the Second World War. Tusk had last week warned that he would call a special summit if the ministers failed to agree on a solution at the Brussels meeting, warning of the need for solidarity and unity. Pressure for action mounted on Thursday after the European Parliament backed the relocation plan for the 120,000 refugees.